I wanted to tell you guys while we're waiting on other people to get on that I had an interesting conversation at 6 o'clock this morning. I had a gentleman pick me up at the resort that I was staying in for a mentorship group training. And he was my Lyft driver. I took a Lyft to the airport, and he was the most interesting guy. He's in his 60s, and his name is Mercadio is what it sounded like. And he's been married 45 years. He came to this country 45 years ago and couldn't speak a bit of English from Mexico. He's from Mexico. And he started working in diners and learning how to cook, and then ended up working for some of the bigger known chefs in the area, and then became a chef himself. But when he first came here, he couldn't speak English, and his first day on the job, he was supposed to take a break. And he couldn't even tell what they wanted him to do, except they wanted him to stop working. So he just goes and sits down in this diner. And he said, I didn't even know I was supposed to eat or take a break. I didn't understand them. And I looked up, and this beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed young girl came over with a burger and knew just enough, he said really bad Spanish, to tell him that he needed to eat and he was on a break. And he decided then that he was going to be the man for her, and he was going to marry her. And I loved that story. And he asked me what I did, and I told him I'm a marriage counselor. And he said that 45 years with the love of his life, and that 10 years ago, they almost didn't make it. They almost broke up. And I asked him why they didn't. And he said, because I knew that I needed to change some things. And if I wanted to keep this woman, I needed to change. And I wasn't going to lose her. And so anyway, that was just such a great story, and reminds me of why I do what I do, is to keep families together and try to help people in difficult situations save their marriage, which is what I want to talk to y'all about tonight. So we're talking to those who maybe your spouse wants a divorce and you don't. Listen, that's a tough place to be. I was the one, most of you know my story. I was the one that wanted out of my marriage, and my husband did not. And thank goodness he stuck it out and fought for us, even when I didn't care or want him to. And so we got through that, and we've been married 28 years now and have a really good, loving marriage, and our family's still intact. And hopefully we'll be grandparents together, and I already feel like we've grown old together, so that part's done, but we'll see. The venture still continues. And so I took the lessons that I learned from our experience, and I wrote a program to help people who are desperate to save their marriage. And it works. And it worked for my husband, and it works for the hundreds of clients, maybe thousands by now, that we've worked with who use the program. And I'm so excited that we have been working for weeks and months on, we always had an ebook out there with some tips and tools, but I threw it together really quickly and put it online because I wanted you guys to have the help. But we have a new one that is new and improved. This is it, the 20 tools to re-engage your spouse. Isn't that lovely, pretty? Thank you, Solimar Agency, for your great work in getting this together for us. And it is online now. We're going to put a link in the comment section for you if you're interested in purchasing this ebook. And if you purchase it, I don't know, Abby, is it 24 hours or how long is?
It's just a limited time.
A limited time.
Launch
so
special.
You get $10 off until Abby decides you don't get $10 off anymore. So I don't know when that's going to be, but I let them worry about all that. So click on the link and you can get it at a reduced fee. Oh, and you have to use the promo code toolkit when you purchase it to get your discount. So do that. It's cool stuff. This book, what I'm so proud of in this book is that this is some solid, really helpful information. This is the stuff that when you used to hire one of our coaches, the first 3 to 5 sessions was going over the material in this book. So guys, this is like a $600 value. And I am proud to give that to you at a reduced cost tonight. So go check that out. And so we're gonna, I'm gonna give you the first 5 of them today for free. Talk about those tonight. We have a link to an ebook, the free version of these first 5 on there too. But I kind of want to talk to you about them tonight because these 5 are important, and it's kind of where people really mess up in this process. The first one is to stop the clock on filing if you can. Oftentimes when your spouse is wanting a divorce, they're really anxious to get everything moving quickly. And so they've got attorneys, and they want to get the house on the market, and they want to start dividing assets really fast. And it's important for you to kind of slow things down so that you can start to do the work of changing the dynamic in your relationship. But it's really important that you don't do this in a petulant, pouty, or demanding, or obstinate, obnoxious way. And so we can coach you on how to do that. But I've included some things here that will help. And one of them is just to let your spouse know that you understand that he or she, I know you want a divorce. That's fine. But I need some time to work through this because you've had weeks or months or years maybe to get to this place. And I need some time to catch up. And oftentimes your spouse will give you that time to kind of work through things. And you can even tell them, maybe I need to go talk to somebody or see a therapist to help me deal with this. This is a huge loss. And oftentimes they'll be willing to do that. I was willing to do that because I felt there's a part of me that felt guilty for wanting the divorce. And so I was willing to accommodate my husband in that way. And that slowed things down and enabled him to show me that change was possible. So that's the first one. The second one is prolong moving out. And even if they're willing to stop the clock on filing with an attorney, oftentimes they want to separate residences. So this is kind of tricky. Here's what I want you to know about this. If you're in a situation where your spouse feels unsafe for any reason, if you have a temper and you rage, or you're physically abusive or emotionally, verbally abusive, or you've had multiple affairs and your spouse is frustrated or scared or feeling unsafe, I advise you to go ahead and let the separation occur, because staying in the house under those circumstances is only going to increase the tension. But if you can, if those situations don't apply, I would like you to try to stay together as long as possible, because it's going to be much easier for your spouse to see changes in you if you're actually in the same house together. So one of the things I've noticed is that when people are ready to separate, if it's the wife that wants a divorce, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But what I see more often than not is she wants to stay in the house with the kids, and she wants him to move out and stay in an apartment and support to 2 households. I mean, almost all the time. And the man's like, that's not fair. I'm like, oh no, it's not fair. And I don't know that I would do that. And if it's the divorce, he's willing to just move out. I mean, he's willing to leave her at home there with the kids and just go get an apartment. So it's kind of weird how that dynamic plays out. But if you can, prolong the moving, or try to stop the moving out. The third one is keep your emotions in check. Guys, this one's really big because this is a highly volatile situation. You're stressed, you're scared, you're anxious, you're nervous, and it's going to be really easy for you to lash out at your spouse when you're angry or feeling irritable, and that's only going to hurt your situation. So if you need to, go see a therapist, go talk to a friend, go scream in your car in the garage with all the doors shut, but don't lash out at your spouse. Number 4, Desperation is not attractive. This is probably the most important one on this list, because everybody that is wanting to save the marriage is tempted. And even my husband did this, and it really is unattractive. And it's this suffocating, clinging behavior. It's this constant telling your spouse you love them, because you think maybe they don't know that, but they do know that. And so it makes your spouse feel suffocated. And the more and harder that you cling, the more determined they are to get away. So you don't want to be aloof, like you don't really care that the marriage is ending, but there's a fine balance between, I remember the day my husband came in, he's like, okay, I get it. You want a divorce? That's fine. We could be in the process of that. We've got to work some things out. This is not what I want, but I can't make you change your mind. And so, we're going to do this a certain way and do this with dignity. And that was impressive to me, made me feel better about him and the marriage. So avoid the desperation tactics to get your partner to stay. The fifth one is anxiety can sabotage. I've worked with a lot of clients in this situation, and listen, your whole world's getting ripped apart. I get it. But when you're wringing your hands and you're always worrying about what's going to happen and what this means for you, pacing the floor. I had one client, she couldn't even sit down in the session. She just had to get up and keep pacing and crying. Again, it makes the partner feel like the sooner I get out, the sooner this will all go away and it'll be better off for everyone. So it's important to get a grip on your emotions, your anxiety, and hold yourself in check to some degree. So those are just some of the things I want to say about those 5. But there are 15 more that are in the new ebook, and they can be yours. So hope you guys check that out. The last time that we were live, I asked, I'm sorry, I need some water. The last time that we were live, I asked if anybody wanted to contact me and let me know about a topic that you wanted me to discuss. And I got this letter in the mail last week, and it's typed so that I wouldn't, I guess, recognize the handwriting. And it says, Kim, in a future post or couch time, would you please discuss narcissism and if you consider that to be a marker of toxicity? And how do I deal with it? Thank you, battling. What do I want to say about that? So unfortunately, I've seen a lot of marriages where there's a narcissistic partner involved. And guys, that's tough. And yes, it is a marker of toxicity to be married to a narcissistic spouse. And you've got a battle ahead of you. There is so much I want to say about this. And I will say about it. I'm going to prepare a special talk just for you guys on this, and maybe a post on this as well. So stay tuned for that. And I wanted to read a comment here. Somebody said, it's sad that women feel suffocated for being loved. I don't think women feel suffocated for being loved, Brad. I think women feel suffocated when they feel trapped, or when they feel like the situation's hopeless and there's nothing else that they can do but leave. I hope that makes sense. I know that sometimes when we love our spouse, it comes from a good place, and we just want to love them and we want them to love us back. But if they are not in a place to receive it, then you're telling them that you love them, and showing them love in certain ways just reminds them of what they're not feeling at the moment for you. And so that's the part about being suffocated. And I will say this, I try to teach all my clients to use the word want instead of need. So I want time with my spouse. I want to be loved by my spouse. I want to be heard and understood. And I want my spouse to do things that are loving and kind. when you say the word need, I need my spouse to spend time with me, I need my spouse to do whatever, there is a heaviness that comes with that your spouse is not able to respond to that in a way that, I mean, how do you not give someone what they need? You need food and air. And so you'll fight to the death to get it. When you tell your spouse you need things from them, you start to it's a push and pull. It almost puts it in a parental position. And that's not really sexy at all either. So there's just, I get what your guys are thinking and saying about this, but the world, I mean, we're teaching some toxic things about relationships. We just are. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Let's put a different message out there, because it is complicated. Relationships are hard, and they're supposed to be hard. And so just because you're in a tough spot doesn't mean you're with the wrong person. All right, anything else? Tell me, I'm seeing the messages. So if you have anything else, any other comments or questions, we've got a little bit of time. Pop it up there and I'll see if I can run through it. Next month, we are going to be doing affairs. What to do when your spouse is having an affair. How do you know if your spouse is having an affair? And if you think they are, how can you, what do you do about it? So a lot of people put GPS trackers and all kinds of stuff, private investigators. That's not the best way to handle it. And so we're going to give you some better advice on what to do if that's your situation. So looking forward to that. And like I said, I am going to try and deal with the narcissistic spouse soon. I'm going to pop in with something special for you guys on that. Anything else, guys? Don't see anything else coming up. So can you guys think of anything I've missed that I need to say, talk about?
This is live on the website.
Okay, so the new ebook is live on the website right now. You can link onto it and get that if you want. And remember, if you use the code TOOLKIT, you get $10 off. So James, how can you trust your spouse again after an affair and she refuses to reconcile? If she's refusing to reconcile, that's going to make it hard to build trust in a relationship. So that's a really difficult situation. And we may be covering that topic the next month and when we talk about affairs. So stay tuned on that, James. But, you know, building trust again is teamwork. It's going to take both of you trying to do that. That's not a quick fix. So if she's refusing to reconcile, that's tough, and I'm sorry. That's a tough one. But hopefully, you know what, James, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, I'll be back, thanks. But the toolkit that we're talking about here might help you get her to re-engage and want to reconcile. So check out that material, see if that will help you. Anybody else? You're welcome. You're welcome, James. Okay, well, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. This was fun. It's been a long day. Started out at 5 o'clock this morning in the West Coast, back in Dallas. Y'all need to get some sunshine back here. It is cold and wet. All right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Be checking in with us. I sometimes pop in here for different things, whatever the mood crosses my mind, but we are scheduled once a month for Couch Time with Kim. So we'll be back next time, and the topic will be affairs. You guys have been great. Hope you all have a good evening. Bye.